to flesh out the possibility of the time.
Well, those are the two best. If one is I wasn't driving, and the other one is I drank after the accident.
Right.
OUIL open intox in file 24-96. Mr. Schuler is here with his lawyer, James Mequio. It seems like this matter also got adjourned a time or two. Mr. Schuler is charged in 24-96 with operating while intoxicated as a second offense. Open intox and failing to report an accident. Good afternoon, Mr. Mequio.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Also present is Melissa Halleck from the prosecutor's office. I'll defer to you, Ms. Halleck, first. What's the status here?
Well, I'm not sure, Your Honor. I emailed an offer to Mr. Mequio. I did not hear back from him. So I guess.
That's true, Your Honor. I wanted to speak with the client today. I believe there's some issues on the OWI I'm still investigating, so I'm hoping to get either an adjournment on that or sometime set it for trial and see if I can work it out before trial date. But so the OWI is still kind of pending, but we are prepared to finish the disturbing the peace case today and proceed to sentencing.
Okay. We are also looking at Mr. Schuler for sobriety card. I've known him since he was a kid. He had several MIPs, maybe 4 previous OUIL. And did you once crash a boat while you were drunk? Somebody, I thought it was you, might be one of your.
No, wrong one. I know we're a tight knit group in Sturgis.
No, but they crashed a jet boat into a house on Klinger Lake.
Oh, no, unfortunately not me.
All right, well, fortunately,
Well, that's what, fortunately, sorry.
it was a Schuler, but apparently it wasn't you. Anyway, you and I have known each other for a long time. This also happened some time ago. It happened in December of 2023. The disturbing the peace happened in August of 23, and it happened in part because your girlfriend didn't want you to drive while you were drunk, and you ended up kicking the door in and knocking the phone out of her hand. And you got a long history of alcohol issues and not dealing very well. And so maybe this isn't a sobriety court case, but we'll set that one for trial. And then we'll deal with the disturbing the peace. How are you for either June 12th or June 26th?
That'd be
What is her due date?
That'd be right around June 20th. We don't know if she's gonna go over or.
Oh, you have a baby due there?
Yes, that's my only. Right around June 20th would be the actual due date, but with hers, they're thinking it might be earlier, especially the way it's looking. What
are the issues with it? Is they found him later walking down the railroad tracks?
They did, Your Honor, and in all honesty to both parties, my client was found with a smallish, I think, half pint of Jim Beam in his pocket. And my client indicates to me that after the accident is when he drank the Jim Beam as opposed to before he was driving. So I'm trying to flesh out the possibility of the time.
Well, those are the two best. If one is I wasn't driving, and the other one is I drank after the accident.
Right.
That now has a name that I won't use here.
Not sure what that is, but I'll be glad to hear about that later. But it was, yeah, I think I looked at the videos. I think that's what my client expressed to the police also, but it was kind of a garbled conversation, so it's hard to sort it out. I want to speak to my client very carefully about the OWI. I think sobriety court is still something we should look at if my client ultimately agrees that perhaps he had something to drink before also. And then
all right, well, let's
move from there.
Who do we have for witnesses from the prosecution?
Oh my goodness. Let me file, I believe.
I don't remember seeing one. Let me double check.
Oh, that's because, yeah, after reviewing all of the video evidence as well as some of the eyewitnesses that were at the scene that saw the accident were not in my file. I had a conversation with Officer Wired 2 days ago, requesting the 911 call, an interview of the person that did call 911 was not in the file. I watched the video, believe that what the defendant had was actually a shooter, a smaller thing of alcohol. And at scene, I looked at dispatch for the accident compared to when his blood draw was. His blood draw wasn't until almost 2 hours later, and he was still a 0.16. So if he's alleging he only drank that small shooter of Jim
Well,
Beam,
he'll either gonna have to decide whether he wants to plead
Right.
or run the.
So I
ramp.
may
In
have a
fact, that information that you were just speaking is what I was looking for, because there's no indication.
Well, and
of-
it's frustrating,
and
and
no
welcome to
witnesses, yeah.
the current world we're in.
Yeah.
You know, this is March or April, almost May. This happened in
Yeah.
December. You still can't get the information. They're not sometimes very conscientious in the investigation.
I had made a phone call last week, an email to Sturgis to try to get at least the 911 call. I noted there could have been up to 3 eyewitnesses and they had not been interviewed, and I requested that. When I looked at what the defense was as far as drinking after the accident.
Who do you have for witnesses?
So I would have Officer Josh Wired, Officer Noel,
Slow down.
sorry. Officer Noel Jimenez.
He keeps claiming I called him Noel Hernandez,
Mhm.
but so now I just do to.
Oh, Hernandez.
Jimenez is his name. Who else?
The toxicologist Bethany Bionnet.
Last
Then-
name?
Bionnet, Beannett.
Okay.
And then I would have possibly Officer Stuck was an eyewitness. He was at the scene, observed some things as well. And then according to the police report, the 911 person that called is an Ariana, Ariana. And I don't have a last name. I have a phone number. It's in the police report that was provided to the defense. That's one of the persons that Mr. Wired is going to be interviewing.
He also was treated by medical people at the scene. Are they?
Yeah,
That was kind of after the
Station.
scene of the accident, after the police
right.
had him.
Well, this isn't a surprise. I'm gonna ask this question every time. So was there a blood draw?
Yes,
Do you have those people?
I don't have them listed. One moment.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you 21 days to file a witness list. And then exhibits, we're gonna have video evidence, 911 call, MSP lab report. Anything else?
No,
Probably the bottle they found in his pocket, the empty bottle,
Well, I
if
do
they
have a-
have it, but for photographs of that anyway, yeah.
they don't have it.
In the old days, they used to, I talked about this the other day, you and I go back far enough, they would seize the open intox and then they put it in that, and it would evaporate.
Oh,
And so they'd bring in like a quart bottle, it's supposed to be the open intox, and everything had evaporated out of it.
All I have with regard to the bottle is the video of him holding
Pulling out
it.
his pocket.
Yeah, and so they don't see, they'll take a picture of it.
Right.
Yeah, and testimony from the officer as to what it was.
I had a guy who shall remain nameless, bless his heart, he's passed away. Him and another guy were out drinking in the country. And they were in a Jeep. And they got MIP tickets. They were over age, but they got MIP tickets. And the police report says, I poured out the beer and gave them each an MIP ticket. And the guy came in and said, yeah, he didn't tell you, he poured the beer inside my Jeep.
Oh, no.
He poured it on the floorboards
Nice
of their
guy.
Jeep.
Oh, man.
And that officer shall also remain nameless, but I think everybody involved in that has passed away. He said, you know, it was like an open top, you know, Jeep, probably not, he poured it on the floor. Anyway,
Street justice.
yes, I guess. Mr. Schuler, you need to figure out whether you get on the bus or off of it. This already is December. We're now in almost May. You've had several previous probations that didn't go well. You've had a lot of alcohol incidents, some felony issues, and so I don't want to drag you kicking and screaming into sobriety court. If you want to come in, fine. If you don't, we got other options. But this case is going to need some work before we set it for trial. And I apologize, I would use June 12th. That may be too far. And June 26th. I hope that if it is your due date, we can accommodate that, but I want to go with a target date.
Yeah, those should work for my calendar, Your Honor.
And do you have any witnesses?
Not at this time. It would only be possibly the defendant, if any. But I will file a witness list, and, you know, within 7 days of receiving the prosecutors. I think once you get your witness statements, it'll be very easy, be very helpful.
To resolve.
Yeah.
It would have been nice.
And Melissa, I do realize every time you pick one of these files up, they're new to you.
Yeah,
You've inherited a lot of these cases, and as they come up, then you look at them and see maybe things that need to be done. But it sounds like you've been proactive in contacting the officers and trying to get things that need to be done.
yeah.
One of the problems is they never go to trial. So the officers never get cross-examined by some vigorous lawyer like James Mecrio about why didn't you do this, this, and this? And it is really a learning experience for the officers. They get up there in front of a jury and they're saying things like, why didn't you do this? Mr. Mecrio and I had a trial. He was with Mr. George. It was a vehicular death
Oh,
case.
yeah, yeah.
And there were just some little things that the officers could have done that would have made our life a lot easier. Like
Right.
take some pictures of, why didn't you take a picture of this? Take a picture of this, which would have taken them 2 seconds. But again, after they got cross-examined on it, I think they probably took a picture of it the next time, but all right, we'll shoot for June 26th at 8:30. If the matter can be resolved before that, great. If not, we can have a trial. But, and
I mean, the information requested should help us, I think, resolve some of those issues.
Yeah, those were the people I kind of were hoping to be able to identify or find whoever called the police, and
Yeah, and there's a phone number.
yeah.
all right, Mr. Schuler, I'll give you the same advice I gave the last guy, which if you want to get into sobriety court, you should start attending AA or other support groups. And to show some sincerity about wanting to do the program. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. All right, now we got to do the other case, which is the disturbing the peace. This was several months before this one. This incident occurred on December 15th. On August 22nd, the defendant was struggling with his alcohol issues at that time. He was fighting with his girlfriend. Is this the same girlfriend that's about to have the baby?
Yes. She's actually my fiance.
Okay. And she didn't want you to drive because you were drunk and you got mad and you left and then you kicked in the door and you broke her phone. They dismissed everything but a charge of disturbing the peace. So the felonies were dismissed, the others were dismissed. You pled to that back in March. Trying to determine how much jail credit you got. You got arrested on December 15th.
Remember how long you were in jail?
He posted bond on
I believe
December
I just sat for
16th.
like a day.
I think he spent one day in jail.
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
Posted a $600 bond. Mr. Mecrio represented that the door had been paid for and the phone had been paid for.
Yeah, we have proof of that. Those things have been removed.
And I continued to see if I got any input from the complainant, Taylor, per saying, I haven't received anything.
No,
She was hoping to be here today, Your Honor, except her children are now sick with some sort of bug, so she couldn't make it into court this afternoon. The only thing I could tell you is that I'm informed that she's still very supportive of Brady. They're still living together, waiting for the birth of their third child, and I don't think she's interested in any severe punishment at this time, Your Honor.
Or anything else you'd like me to know?
Yes, Judge, I've had a number of conversations with Brady, and I think he agrees that he has to do something to address his alcohol, and he's indicated he stopped drinking, but my advice to him is he's going to need some help to continue that. Not everyone can maybe stop drinking for a little while, but the stress of a new baby coming, and when a new baby comes, there's going to be 3 times the stress he's under now.
How many other children are there?
I have 2.
How old
I
are
have a 3-year-old that's about to be 4, and then I have a 1-year-old. That's got a full head of teeth already, and
That's
and how to
very,
talk.
that's very hard.
Yes.
What you just described is very hard. And add a newborn to that mix. And are you working someplace?
I'm just filling out applications. I've been doing interviews. I've been trying to do everything,
When did you last work?
but right before my accident. And then I lost that due to my car being totaled, and I didn't have a ride to work.
So you haven't worked since December?
No, I have not. But I filled out job applications around me. I've been riding my bike. I don't really have anybody to give me rides or anything, so I'm going out filling job applications on a bike, doing what I can. Just nowhere's not really hiring. They don't have enough people to either keep a shift or they don't want to open another shift up.
Yeah, there's jobs out there, just knowing where to go. And you need to be able to get there. All right, the doors, were you on her lease? She was at Cato, so is she living
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, she's living there.
And
I
you
kind
live
of
at
stay
Frank-
and help with the kids, and then I go back to my mom's.
Which is on Franklin Road?
Yes, sir.
All right. That's probably not enough help, but it's better than none at all.
My client's mother is also very active. In fact, she's present in the courtroom today too.
Yes. Well, he doesn't owe me any money. I have $600 of bond. Let me look at that bond. I think it was a 6,000 10% bond. That's what it looks like here.
Did you go through bondsman or through the
Yes.
court?
I
Bondsman must
believe
have
we
been.
went through a bondsman with both.
No, this was cash money.
Oh,
No, that would be the time my brother, yeah. I couldn't remember.
cash.
1 day jail credit, 1 day, $100 fine, $75 crime victims' rights fee, and a $50 state minimum fee, $225. Out of a $600 10% bond. I hate to give money back. I'm not gonna apply it to the new case. I'm gonna return it. Your family probably needs the money. Plus you borrowed it from your brother. All right, Mr. McRae, I'll give you that file. You can take your client out to the counter, get some of his money back.
Thank you, Your Honor.
In the meantime, you guys can work on the
Yeah, I'll get you.
other case. Just a minute, I'll shut the record off and I'll tell you what I was referring to. Miss Benton, would you come up and have a seat? Miss Benton is here for sentencing and a charge of retail fraud second degree. And she has a new warrant for her arrest and a new charge of retail fraud second degree. File 24457 SM. You don't even know about this one yet. This, let me pull these up. They left me a note, said warrant out, and they gave me this other file. But I don't have both files. Darn it. Well, the one that's set for 9 o'clock this morning alleged that on or about November 13th at the Meyer store, you sold $38.47 worth of stuff. And you added a plea to that, and it was set for sentencing today. Let me look at my notes. You owed $165 in an earlier case. I set the sentencing for this morning to see if you paid on the other case. 231582.
Yeah, I just started working. Yesterday will be my second week at Fiber Converters.
You started working at Fiber Converters in Constantine?
Yeah,
Are you working in the shop?
yeah, I work first shift, so
That's hard work. You had a retail fraud in file 231582. That occurred on November 6th of 2023. And that was $40 to Walmart. And I think a man paid your fines. One of my viewers on YouTube, a very generous man, I won't say where he's from, paid your fine, which is more than you did. I adjourned this from November to April, and so far you paid none, but he called and wanted to know what to do to pay the fine, and he paid it. I won't say his name. He doesn't want any recognition. He's done some other things over the years. He's paid some people civil judgments. Then you had another retail fraud on November 13th, which is this one, 2429. And then you have another one I got to find, which occurred in December. So I'm in here bending over backwards, not to put you in jail and to work with you. And I adjourned the matter and you didn't pay 1 cent. Someone else paid your fine. And then on December 21st, you get charged again with retail fraud. So let's look at that one. Are you aware of this, Melissa?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
It's an incident at Meyer again.
24. It's not in here.
The 24457.
No, we do it by file number. Sometimes they spell their name wrong. All right, I don't know why this isn't in here, but I found it by using the file number. It's like a damn scavenger hunt. All right, it is alleged that on, this says 1221, the complaint says 1231. This has got all kinds of problems. That you were at the Meyer store and you did alter, transfer, remove, replace, or otherwise misrepresent the price at which the property was for sale. Charged as a second or subsequent, making it a misdemeanor punishable by up to a year in jail. And they found you through your Michigan ID card. She was observed concealing merchandise in her purse as she walked throughout the store. And also removed the UPS stickers from cheaper items and placed them on more expensive items. She went to the self-checkout and scanned the more expensive items with the cheaper items on the UPS sticker. Benton made no attempt to pay for the concealed items and left the store. Total merchandise, $192.37. Leads me to believe that you aren't getting the message. Ms. Halleck, let's talk about the case that was set for today. I'm disappointed that she didn't pay anything,
Yeah.
but someone did pay on her behalf. I do have $200 of bond, and I told her the sentence in this case would be $200.
I don't know what the answer is. I don't know why someone knowing that they have to come to court and answer to your honor and has done nothing.
I haven't had any means to pay it. I just started working.
Well, and that's fine. That was my struggle when I was dealing with you back in November.
And I get paid bi-weekly there, so
Are you still living on Hooker Avenue?
no, I haven't been there for,
Are you, where are you?
I'm currently just staying at, my friend Sue, she's an older woman on 7th and Pearl.
Are you missing work right now?
Yeah.
And how long have you been there?
This will be my 3rd week, I wanna say, because I had, started on a Wednesday, so yeah, this is my 3rd week.
Well, I'm gonna do the sentence I told her I was gonna do. What did you think? You didn't know yet a new charge. They didn't authorize it until March. We confirmed that you're working at Fiber Converters. I tell everybody that works there, do everything my cousin Buddy tells you to do and you'll be just fine. You put up with his grouchiness. He works hard.
Yes, it is.
I'm very unhappy about this. The only thing you got going for is you got a job. I felt like giving you 90 days in jail. That man generously paid your fine. You did none. Then you go steal again after I bend over backwards not to, you won't be able to shop anywhere. You're barred from Myers, you're barred from Walmart.
Being able to get a job is a huge thing. We see many people that don't have an ID, aren't able to even get employment. So if that were maintained through her next appearance, that would be very favorable to her, obviously.
I think I have $200 of bond here. Which case are you here on, sir? What's your name?
Elton McLean.
Okay, I've got your file.
So I had showed, trying to find, the courthouse. Plus there was the roads were closed down, school crash over there.
Yeah, you can't get here from Schoolcraft.
So I do apologize for being late now.
Well, you're here now, so I'm glad. I have your email address. You have $200 of bond posted by your benefactor. $39 of restitution, $36 fine, $75 crime victims' rights fee, $50 state minimum fee, $200 of bond, barred from Walmart.
I get paid on the 29th.
I'm not worried about money. I'm worried about what to do with you. You keep stealing stuff. This is your 5th or 6th retail fraud here. You had already done this retail fraud when I saw you in January. You hadn't been seen on it yet. You didn't know they were requesting a warrant. They have video of you apparently doing this. But this is a damn nuisance because the file isn't where it's supposed to be under your name. And under the criminal, they've got a general civil cases in there. So I have to look for it by the case number. So let me see if I can get back into that.
This new case, let's see, I authorized, and I didn't even start working till the end.
Yeah,
of
it got authorized on
beginning of March.
March
so-
12th. It took a while probably for them to complete the investigation.
Yeah, so
So this isn't in my queue here and it isn't under her name, Christy Benton, but it is under the file number 1231. It was reported. You'd actually been into the office and talked to the lady. So yeah, you knew you'd been charged with it, but they submitted it later. Well, I'm going to show a plea of not guilty. I'm going to appoint an attorney, set attorney pretrial for May 31st at 8:30. At some point, now at this point, you're presumed to be not guilty of this, but they're alleging that you stole $192 worth of stuff by sticking some of it in your purse and underringing the other stuff. just after I twisted myself into a pretzel to not put you in jail. Then you did zero to pay on any of the stuff that you had. And I understand that you were in dire straits, but none. So at some point, there could be a jail consequence, which could be work release or otherwise, but I don't want you to lose your job. I'm gonna set the bond at $250 PR. You need to get fingerprinted on this charge and mugshot. They're gonna fingerprint you. I want you to go out to the counter, sign the PR bond, get a notice for May 31st at 8:30. We're gonna give you the attorney's name and number. This is a compulsive theft. And we were talking about different kinds of theft this morning. I don't know what you allegedly stole. It was worth $192.37. I'm assuming it was food and household items. Can you tell what it was from what you're looking at?
No, I can't actually. It just says she put miscellaneous items into a bag.
So the existing one is done. The benefactor paid your fine and the other thing and actually posted this $200, which is an accounting problem for us. But this new charge, right now, you can't go into Myers and you can't go into Walmart. So I guess you have to shop at Aldi's or Harding's. And when you get out to the counter, I want you to give your correct address. We have your email address. So we'll get an attorney for you. Remember, you can't go into Myers, you can't go into Walmart. I guess then you can get back to work. Would you take both of these out? Thank you. I have the affidavit. Do you have any report on that or just the affidavit, Melissa?
Oh, let me look. I closed it out.
I'm no help, Judge. I must confess I'm a little deficient in my Russian prison knowledge.
Read some Martin Cruz Smith books or Stuart Kaminsky or several others.
I might get some flack for this, but I haven't read a lot of it since I was in high school, but found Russian literature to be a little depressive and fatalistic.
Oh, they're not Russian literature. It's just police procedurals set in Moscow. Martin Cruz Smith is a very good writer. He wrote Gorky Park and a number of others, and Stuart Kaminsky wrote a number of good books, 6 of which were set in Siesta Key. But he wrote a series of books that were set in Moscow, which were very good. He's passed away, so I never figured out how the stories ended up. Mr. Matheny is here early. I'm not sure how we went down that rabbit hole, but Mr. Lebonsky, are you with us?
Just in time for a lecture on my people. I appreciate it.
I don't know if you read. Oh, I like your logo there. I've never seen that before. Carrier, those people, they don't ever bring that in. That's pretty impressive looking. I've already advised the defendant of her rights as a tenant. Meg Bauer is here with us from Legal Aid, and Ms. Cousineau, your manager, is here also. So let me take a minute. All right, this is a claim for non-payment of rent. This is a property at Laura Court. The rent is $430 per month, and the alleged arrearage is $25.77, but that didn't include March or April. So, Mr. Lebonsky, what's the current arrearage?
And is this on the Felicia Hotel case, Your Honor?
Yes, it is. I'm sorry.
Very good. Currently in rent, $3,040. I'm showing costs of $185 for a total of $3,225.
That is through April?
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Hotel, what's your position?
I took care of this month's rent. I've been looking for assistance. I went through DHS, but they basically told me that if I got rental assistance, they were going to take away my food stamps. And
That's a
then,
new one.
yeah, that's what I just went through with them. And then I just went to community action on Monday for the second time since February, and they're going to help me out with $1,000. And then
How about Neighborhood Inc.?
I've talked to them too, and I also, my church Radiant Life is supposed to get back with me. I left the pastor Josh a message a couple times this week, but we haven't made contact since my appointment with community action.
All right, well, you're really on top of it. I talk to people that say, well, I'm gonna talk to somebody. You talk to everybody.
I've talked to everybody.
DHS, Community
Yes.
Action, Neighborhood Inc., and your church.
And there's been some other people too that weren't able to help, that I have a whole list.
All right,
And
now,
then I've also been keeping track with Lori on everything, and we just wanted to try to get everything paid up and resolved.
all right. Well, good for you. Now, normally we would adjourn this 7 days, or excuse me, at least 10 days. I'm thinking maybe we'll go a little bit farther because you've requested aid and it takes a while for that to take place. So normally this would be set for next Friday, the 3rd of May. I'm gonna bump it to May 6th. Does that work for you, Mr. Lubianski?
Yes, Your Honor.
May 6th at 1:40. Of course, by then, May's rent will also be due.
Yes, we've already added that into everything.
All right, you've been the most on top of it and anybody I've talked to in weeks.
I've lived here for 12 years. I really don't want to lose my home. I'm a single mom of 3 kids, and it's just been a really bad year.
Now, the question is going forward, once you get past May, will you be able to continue to pay $430 a month's rent?
We just had the rent bumped down to $400 a month when we did everything. I think it was about a month ago. And I also discussed this with my church, and they also said the same thing. They want to make sure that I'm set up for success, where I'm not just falling right back down into a rabbit hole. So as soon as I get everything caught up, I'm going to make sure that I can keep it caught up. But it's just been, what it was my washer, dryer, my vacuum cleaner, and my car all took a crap at the same time. So it's like I've just had one obstacle after the other.
All right, that sounds like a country music lyric.
Exactly.
My car, my vacuum cleaner, my washing machine, and my dog all died. That's a very sad story. All right, but you're very proactive and you seem to be on top of it. We'll bump this a little longer than 10 days. We'll bump it out 14, or actually, yeah, I guess 13 days. But we'll see how you're doing at that point. And then what I would say was we'll figure out what the arrearage is. I would give you 10 additional days to pay the arrearage. So it would give you at minimum till May 16th to get this all in order. So okay. I will see you Monday, May 6th at 1:40. And Mr. Lubianski, you drew the short straw today. I think this is the only Cox case we got for this morning. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Judge.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Cousineau, we'll see you next time also.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you. Well, we're waiting for Miss Richmond to join us. Here
I am.
Back from special engagement in the Florida Keys, Terry Richmond, back in Michigan. Let me take care of this case ahead of yours, okay. And then we'll address yours. Mr. Heisman, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, we went through your advice of rights. Mr. Matheny has joined us. He's here at the courthouse. This is a circumstance where you're both living in the same house. 212 South Monroe Street. And Mr. Matheny wants you to move. What's your position?
Being that he's my stepfather, I guess I have to do what he would like.
Have you taken any action to find another place to go?
Yes, I have. I've got some of my stuff moved out. It's a little touch and go on transportation from how far my storage shed is. And I got two places I'm looking at moving into. One being my mother, one being my aunt. But nothing's 100% right now.
All right. Mr. Matheny, the law requires that I adjourn this matter for 7 days. The law changed a few years ago during COVID. They used to get 10 days from this date to move out. It sounds like Herman is working on doing that. He had some stuff with me earlier this year, and he took care of all of his obligations regarding those matters. But the law requires that I adjourn this for 7 days, which would be next Friday, May 3rd. And we would set this for 1:40 on Friday, May 3rd.
And if I'm out before that date, do I show up to court still?
No, you don't. I'll give you instructions regarding that. If you've moved out by that date, you need to turn in your keys and give your forwarding address in writing to your landlord. But if you've moved by that date, you don't need to appear.
Okay, thank you.
Now, let me tell you what else.
Yes, sir.
If you don't move by that date, Mr. Matheny can get an order. Well, I would order you to move out within 10 days of that day, which would be May 16th. If you don't move by that date, the sheriff could come put your stuff out. But I get these cases almost every month where people are living in the same house, they're related, they were friends, they're not, and the landlord simply wants their property back.
What about
He wants
any more stuff?
Excuse me, sir?
He's got this girlfriend that lives there, and she is crazy. The neighbors called me 10 minutes after I got to work. The case number's 1393, I believe, or 1939. And she was outside. I know we're getting to work at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I don't know anything about her. She's not listed anywhere. What's her
She lives
name?
there though. Asking me, she lives there.
Well, okay, what's her name?
Cheyenne Smith.
Say that again.
Cheyenne Smith.
So are you both gonna go? Just a minute, Mr. Matheny, you're not represented by a lawyer. You're doing this yourself. The only move to evict Herman. She's not on. But you did include and all others. So she is included as all others.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Mr. Heisman, if you're both out, you turn in the keys. You don't need to be here next week.
Yep.
If you're not, we'll have a further hearing at 1:40 on May 3rd.
Okay.
Mr. Matheny,
Yes, sir.
same thing, if he turns in the keys and moves, you don't need to be here either. But if he doesn't, you can come in just like you did today.
And what about destroying more things? They broke a window. She broke.
Well, they aren't supposed to do that. If they move out, you can ask for money damages or sue them in small claims court.
I admit the window.
Here. What?
I admit the window. That was mine. Nothing else I've ever destroyed. I've never destroyed anything but the window.
All right.
I got
witnesses. All right.
I have witnesses that seen your girlfriend do it.
Okay. Now, once he moves out, you can assess how much damage he did and file a lawsuit in small claims court to collect money. This is not a money hearing. This is just a possession hearing to get him out. So, and don't destroy any more property and moving out, and
Yes,
you
sir.
need to take the other person with you.
Yes.
If nobody's here next Friday, I'll assume you moved. If
Okay.
you didn't, we'll have a further hearing on the matter.
Okay, no problem.
All right, you're good to go. All right, Mr. Matheny, if you have any questions, contact the court. But otherwise, if he's gone, we won't be here next week. If he is, we'll discuss it further. Again, once he moves, assess what all the damage is, and if you want to sue him in small claims court, you can do that. All right, we actually got one jump ahead. This case is set for 9/10. It's now 9/14. It's Terry and Larry Richmond versus Jeremy and Jane Price. Who do you
Your
have with
Honor,
you, Ms. Richmond?
I have Jane Price.
All right.
Are we on YouTube?
Yes, and this is the one we discussed.
Yes.
And I'm going to stop this for a moment. And that's why I thought I would do the other one. We'll stop the live stream. There are some issues that the parties discussed with me in advance that they don't wish to put on the YouTube channel. So